The car moves slowly through the streets of Warsaw. It is past midnight, November 1981. A man lies still beneath a pile of blankets in the back seat. He does not move. He barely breathes. His name is Ryszard Kukliński, colonel in the Polish People's Army, trusted aide to General Wojciech Jaruzelski himself. For 9 years, he has lived 2 lives. Tonight, both of them are about to end. Up ahead, headlights sweep across a checkpoint. Soldiers, rifles slung over shoulders, a flashlight beam crawling toward the windshield. If they search this car, Kukliński dies. Not later, not in a trial. Here, on this street, tonight. The car slows. A window rolls down. Words are exchanged in the cold night air. Kukliński does not move, does not breathe. Somewhere above him, in offices he once walked through as a trusted officer, men are already searching for a traitor. They do not yet know his name for certain. But the net is closing. Hour by hour, he has one chance to disappear before they find it. The soldier at the checkpoint leans toward the glass. We will come back to this moment. But to understand what is at stake in these seconds, you need to know what this man carried inside his head and what it took to hide it for 9 years. Warsaw, 1972. Kukliński is a rising officer, a war planner with access most men in the Polish army will never see. He has fought his way up through discipline and intellect. He served in the Polish military from his youth, moving steadily into the planning divisions where the real machinery of the Warsaw Pact takes shape. He is trusted, he is respected, he is, by every visible measure, a loyal son of the Polish People's Republic. But something inside him has already broken. He has read the war plans. He knows what his own government has agreed to. In the event of a NATO conflict, Poland will not simply be a battlefield. Soviet doctrine calls for nuclear strikes to roll across Polish territory, whether Polish cities and Polish families survive the exchange or not. Kukliński understands something most Poles never will. His country is not a true partner inside the Warsaw Pact. It is a sacrifice, already written into the plans, sealed in documents most of his own countrymen will never see. He cannot say this to anyone. Not his commanders, not his friends, not even, at first, his wife. So he makes a decision that will define the rest of his life. He reaches out to the one power that might listen, the Americans. In August 1972, a carefully worded letter reaches an American contact tied to U.S. naval intelligence in Western Europe. Unsigned, precise. A man offering something almost too dangerous to imagine. A source inside the Polish General Staff, willing to hand over the secrets of the entire Warsaw Pact. The response is not immediate trust. Sources like this rarely survive contact. Fewer survive a decade. The CIA moves carefully, testing the offer, testing the man behind it. He passes every test, and soon a name is chosen for the file that will define the next 9 years of his life. Jack Strong. From this point forward, every ordinary day of his career becomes something else entirely. Every meeting, every document, every handshake with a general who trusts him completely. What follows is not one dramatic act of betrayal. It is thousands of small, unbearable risks, repeated for years, inside buildings where a single wrong glance could end everything. Kukliński photographs classified documents using a camera concealed inside an ordinary cigarette lighter. He works fast. He works alone, usually late, when the corridors outside his office have gone quiet. Every photograph is a decision that cannot be undone. He passes mobilization plans, troop deployments, the coordinates of secret command bunkers built to survive nuclear war, and, most explosive of all, details of Soviet operational planning for a potential push into Western Europe. the kind of material NATO's own intelligence services have spent decades trying to piece together from fragments. One night, working alone in a secure office long after his colleagues have gone home, he hears footsteps in the corridor outside. He freezes, lighter still in hand, a half-photographed document open on the desk. The footsteps slow near his door, then continue past. He does not know, in that moment, whether he has just survived by seconds, or whether someone has simply noted, without comment, that his light was still on. Each package of film moves through dead drops and courier routes, smuggled out of Poland through channels built to look like nothing at all, until it finally reaches the hands of the CIA. There are meetings abroad too, arranged under the cover of official military travel, where he sits across from American handlers in quiet rooms and hands over material that could end his life in an instant if it were ever traced back to him. Every trip home afterward, he has to become, once again, the loyal colonel his superiors believe him to be. His wife eventually learns the truth. So, in time, do his sons, old enough by then to sense that their father carries a weight he can never fully explain, forced to live inside a secret they can never speak aloud, not even to each other, in careless moments at the dinner table. Every year that passes without discovery is not relief. It is borrowed time, and the loan is coming due. By 1980, the stakes change again. Poland is no longer just a piece on someone else's chessboard. It is on fire from within. The Solidarity movement rises out of the Gdańsk shipyards, a workers' uprising that terrifies the communist leadership in Warsaw and Moscow alike. Kuklinski is now positioned closer to the center of power than ever, working directly alongside General Jaruzelski's staff as Poland's leadership debates how to crush the growing rebellion before it spreads any further. What Kuklinski sees in those closed-door planning sessions is chilling. Polish military leaders, under mounting Soviet pressure, are drawing up detailed plans to impose martial law on their own citizens. Tanks positioned not toward NATO's borders, but toward Polish factories, Polish streets, Polish families. Kuklinski passes these plans to the CIA as well, warning Washington that Poland's own government may soon turn its own army against its own people. It is, by any measure, the most consequential material he has ever transmitted, and the most dangerous to be caught holding, because something else is happening at the same time. The circle of officers with access to this material is shrinking fast. Every leak, every American assessment that seems to know Polish secrets a little too precisely tightens an internal search for a source inside the general staff. Kuklinski knows the mathematics of espionage better than almost anyone alive. The longer a source survives, the smaller the pool of suspects becomes. And by late 1981, that pool is closing in around a very small number of names. His is one of them. In early November 1981, a message reaches his CIA handlers. Something has shifted. Kuklinski believes he is now under suspicion. Perhaps not proven, perhaps not yet fatal, but close enough that every remaining day in Poland is a day closer to arrest, interrogation, and death, not just for him, but for his wife and sons as well. The CIA faces an agonizing decision: extracting a source of this value from inside a Warsaw Pact capital without tipping off the Soviets that something has gone catastrophically wrong is one of the most delicate operations in the agency's history. Move too fast, and they confirm his guilt before he's even out. Move too slow, and there may be no one left to extract. They decide to move. On the night of November 7th, 1981, Kuklinski and his wife are quietly gathered from their apartment and brought to a waiting vehicle. This is the car from the opening of this story. This is the checkpoint. This is the moment under the blankets, holding still while a soldier's flashlight sweeps past the glass, close enough that a single misplaced sound could end it all. Seconds pass. The soldier straightens, waves the car through. It rolls forward, past the checkpoint, out of the tightening circle, toward an escape route designed to carry the Kuklinskis out of Poland entirely, and eventually to the United States. They leave behind their entire lives, their home, their friends, a country neither of them will be able to safely set foot in again for close to 2 decades. 5 weeks later, on December 13th, 1981, General Jaruzelski declares martial law across Poland. Tanks move into the streets. Solidarity leaders are arrested overnight, exactly as the documents Kuklinski once photographed had warned. He is already gone. He does not see it happen. He only reads about it, from a distance, in a country that is no longer his. The Polish authorities do not take long to understand what has happened. Kuklinski is tried in absentia by a Polish military court. In 1984, he is sentenced to death as a traitor to the state, a sentence that, for over a decade, defines his name in the country he risked everything for. In the United States, he lives under a new identity, protected but never entirely at peace. The cost of what he did follows him in ways no extraction plan could shield him from. In the years after his defection, both of his sons die in circumstances that have never been fully explained, one in a boating accident, one struck by a car in an unsolved hit-and-run. Kuklinski and those close to him have long suspected these were not accidents at all. No definitive evidence has ever proven it either way. For over a decade, in Poland, his name remains synonymous with betrayal. But history does not stay frozen. As the Soviet Union collapses and Poland rebuilds itself as a democracy, the documents Kuklinski once risked his life to photograph are re-examined in an entirely different light. What looked like betrayal to a communist state begins to look, to a free Poland, like something closer to loyalty, not to the government of the moment, but to a country he believed deserved better than being sacrificed on someone else's battlefield. In 1995, a Polish court annuls his death sentence. 2 years later, all charges against him are formally dropped. In 1998, Ryszard Kukliński returns to Poland for the first time in 17 years, not as a fugitive, but as a free man, walking streets that once hunted him. He dies in the United States in 2004, having lived just long enough to see his name rewritten in the eyes of a free Poland, from traitor to patriot. The man who once lay motionless under a blanket, waiting to learn if a single checkpoint would end his life, spent 9 years hiding in plain sight inside the most secretive institutions of the Warsaw Pact. He carried a nation's darkest secret in a cigarette lighter. And somehow, against every odds stacked against him, he carried it all the way out. Some stories cross borders the way secrets once did. If you're listening tonight, drop a comment and tell us what part of the world this story reached you from.